Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. I go drink water and mind my business. Mind my business. Drink water and mind my business. I go drink water and mind my business. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live Monday nights. Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm on half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. And I started how I started. Listen. I'm going Trinidad and Tobago, people. This afternoon, about 4 hours ago, I rang there's this guy I know who sorts me out. Whenever I travel abroad, he's the plug. And once I saw the summer fixtures come out, the West Indies schedule for the summer, I saw the first and second test, and I said, "Wait a minute, I'm free then. I'm on holiday." I'm on holiday then. It's a break from school. And I saw the Trinidad test was the 7th to the 11th of August against South Africa. And the Guyana test was the 15th to the 19th. I said, I think I can do that. Now, I don't know how many of you are diaspora people from the region. For those of you who don't know, my origin story. So I was born in Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica, St. Andrew. And my family moved to the UK when I was 4 years old. And my parents live back home now. I briefly lived back in Jamaica again between the age of 16 and 18. Did my A-levels in Jamaica. Big up all the Jamaicans, Walmers School in Kingston. The thing with that is, if you're a diaspora child, when you go on holiday to the region, you tend to just go where your peoples are. And all of my family, whether my immediate family in terms of my parents, they're back home in Jamaica. My extended family are in the States or Canada. I think this is a familiar story for a lot of people in the diaspora who are not within the region anymore. So when I think about going to the Caribbean, I'm always like, well, I've got to go home. Do you know what I mean? It's weird in that you don't think too often about, well, why don't I check out another one of the nations or the islands or whatever it might be? Why don't I go to Barbados? Why don't I go to Trinidad and Tobago? Why don't I go to Antigua, etc.? It seems, because travel is so expensive in the region, it always feels kind of bad to be like, yeah, I'm going to go to the region, but I'm not going to go home. So every time I've ever gone back to the Caribbean, I go home. I go back to Jamaica. I go to see my family, right? And then, so anyways, I saw the test schedule of the West Indies, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm free when they're in Trinidad. I looked at the Guyana dates again, and I realized I couldn't do that. There's certain things going on in the UK that I've got to be back for. And so I've been umming and ahhing for the last 3, 4, 5 days. I've been umming and ahhing, going, I should go, I should go. And then today, I just did it. Sometimes you just have to do this stuff on a whim. Worry about consequences later and just do it. So today I booked it. I booked the flight to Trinidad and Tobago. I will be there for the first test between West Indies and South Africa. Knowing my luck, the whole test will rain out or will be over within 2.5 days, but I'll be there all the same. So Trinidad posse, anybody who's in the live or watches this back on the replay who's from Trinidad and Tobago, I will be there this summer from the 6th to the 14th. Let's meet up. Let's do some CCP content. Let's do some interviews. Let's have some conversations. It'll be interesting to see which of the cricketers decides to smash my head in with a bat. But we have to move all the same. Anyways, people, welcome to the live show. That's the intro. Welcome to the live show. What are we going to discuss today? I don't really want to talk today, Do you know what I've been doing in the build up? Yeah, actually, Joe Bob's right. Actually, this is the. I mean, I'm going to start thinking about content soon enough, maybe within the next month or so. But 100%, there'll be definitely live stuff in the ground easily. Joe Bob, in fact, you and I will talk. But earlier today, I was thinking about, you know what, I should try and get like, see if I can pay for like somebody to be like a videographer who's based in Trinidad to come do some stuff for me, with me, whilst I'm out there. But anyways, whatever, we can worry about all that stuff later. So yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, not talking too much. I've been marking work, you know. Summit says, what about the match ticket? Listen, it'll just be me and a couple brown dog in Queen's Park Oval for that test. I will definitely not be paying. I'm going in as press. I don't care. I'm going in as media. I am not paying for any ticket to go to that first test. I might all just walk in the ground, to be honest, without paying. But yeah, I don't think any of us have to worry about getting in there. So anyways, what am I saying? What am I saying? Yeah, today. So what are we going to discuss today? Jaden Seals took another fifer in the county championship, Div 2. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's the top wicket taker in the county championship in Division 2 right now. Kemar Roach took 6 for 46 to help Surrey defeat. Who did they beat? Was it Warwickshire? I think they beat Warwickshire. And Jason Holder scored 120 odd in a draw for Worcestershire against Kent. That's actually the end of Jason's stint. I'm going to sneeze, people. Bloody hell. That's the end of Jason's stint for Worcestershire. He now flies home because he's part of the T20 prep camp ahead of the World Cup. Obviously, the IPL players will join that camp later on, but Jason will fly home now for that T20 camp, leaving just Jaden and Kemar, who will continue to play county cricket in the UK, although the Vitality Blast is starting soon. So we got that to discuss for sure. Performances in the UK. What else have we got to discuss? What else has happened? I saw an article today, actually, speaking of Trinidad and Tobago, I saw an article today in the Trinidad and Tobago news where one of the, I think it's one of the presidents of one of the zones is accusing Basaraf of being a thief, a damn thief. Basaraf is, you know what, I'm going to Trinidad, let me shut my mouth. But anyways, it's an article that I read where somebody was saying, I can't remember the name of the guy, he was saying, where's the $200,000? And saying Basaraf has thief the money. So there's that to discuss possibly. What else is there to discuss? What else have we missed? Do you know what we didn't discuss last week? Devon Thomas, he got that, he didn't bust case. Devon Thomas caught that 5-year ICC ban, so his career is over. We didn't discuss the fact a couple of weeks ago that John Campbell bust case. John Campbell is free to play cricket again from, I think, August or July this year. So he can start his comeback trail for the West Indies. What else have we missed? Anthony, yeah, this news was released today. CPL is looking to recruit a presenter. Yeah, I read that, I read that news release. It says you've got to be based in the Caribbean, though. CPL don't want me on their channels because they know that if they put me, CPL should have flown me out to grounds a long, long time ago. But they know that if they put me out in them grounds, the content will be hilarious. But they're probably mindful of what I might say with a live mic in my hand. So I don't know about that still. What else? Malcolm says I might need to change and come to Guyana. Listen, I never said Basaraf was a thief, I'm saying the people in Trinidad are saying Basaraf is a thief. I don't know if he's a thief. I don't know. I'm just saying the articles in the newspaper said he's thief the money. I can only repeat what I've read, Basaraf, where the money at? Well, anyways, what else we say? What else has happened? I did an interview. I did recorded a video for the channel the other day on the West Indies women's team, and whether they are improving or whether it's just that Hayley Matthews is the GOAT. You see on that video that I did. Let's have a conversation. Actually, I'm going to put this in the. This is the first poll for today. I'm going to put this in the poll right now. 1 second, people. Let me do the first poll for today. I want to see the answers. Wait for this, people. So you lot talk amongst yourselves. There we go, people. First poll for today's live. Should Hayley Matthews get in the men's senior side? I'm not even specifying the format. Would you pick Hayley Matthews in a men's senior side? I'm not even joking. I'm being deadly serious. Deadly serious. Pick your format, whether T20, she would walk into my ODI side easily. Whether T20s, ODIs, or tests, it's not even if it's possible, she can be picked. She can be picked. There's no rules, right? There's no rules which says you can't pick a woman for the men's side, right? There's no rules about it, right? Someone tell me, is there rules about it? I would pick Hayley Matthews tomorrow. Hayley Matthews walks into my West Indies ODI side. Bobby Burns says, cut the foolishness. Bobby, we haven't won we don't win ODIs. You're telling me it's foolishness. Hayley Matthews walks into my ODI side. Our ODI side is a rux. Hayley Matthews walks into my ODI side tomorrow. What if we're giving everybody else a chance? So what, you're saying Hayley Matthews can't get a chance either? Come on, man. Come on. The GOAT can get a chance in my side. Rod says Hayley Matthews can't face 150 plus bouncers, but neither can any of our other batters. What are you talking about? None of them can. You're talking like the men can face them. Come on, man. Think about it logically, right? You can't say to me that Hayley Matthews can't do X, Y, Z when the same men in the team can't do it either. Let's give Hayley Matthews a chance. Let's call her up to the men's side. People getting emotional. People getting emotional in the chat. Bobby says, your Hayley is great, but you're putting apples to oranges. But are we really, though? Are we really? Are we really? I think Hayley Matthews could score a 50 in our domestic championship. Any of the formats. Any of the formats, whether it be the Super 50 or Regional 4-day. Are you lot saying that Hayley Matthews couldn't score a 50 in our domestic championship? Come on, you lot don't, what's it? No, answer that. You lot are saying that Hayley Matthews couldn't score a half century in our domestic championship. Are you not honestly saying you don't think she could? I think she could easily. And that's the criteria to get into the West Indies team. So if we're saying that she could score 50s in our domestic championship, men's domestic championship, then of course she couldn't get into the West Indies men's side. Everybody else does. Everybody else manages to do it without doing anything significant. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's not my problem that you lot are sexist. You lot in the chat are sexist. Free up Hayley Matthews. Free up Hayley Matthews. I'm looking to be talking to a bunch of sexists in the chat. You lot want to say that she can't do this. Why? Because she's a woman. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come at me now. Come at me now. I'm ready, though. I'm ready. I'm ready. People getting emotional in the chat, you know. What? So as soon as I call you lot sexist, you don't have nothing to say now. Come on, then. Come on. Give me a logical reason. A logical reason why you think Hayley Matthews wouldn't score a 50 in our domestic championship. Give me a logical reason. You're telling me that Hayley Matthews couldn't score 50 against CCC. You're saying she couldn't score 50 against CCC. I can score 50 against CCC. So if I can do it, you best damn believe Hayley Matthews can do it. Come on, man. I'm not saying she has to hit sixes, you know. I'm just saying she has to construct an innings. Look at Bobby Burns. See, look at this sexist. Do you remember when some schoolboys drilled a women's national team? Why are you bringing drilled into the conversation? Come on, man. Clean out your mouth. Stop all that. Anyways, people, you know. Anyways, enough. Enough. Let me not trigger everybody anymore. Hopefully Hayley's listening to this on a burner account. Big up Hayley Matthews each and every time. So what else do we need to talk about today? What else do we need to talk about today? Have I missed anything? What else? What else? What else has happened in the week? I don't think I think that's it. To be fair, I'll just let you lot decide. You lot decide. You lot decide what you want to talk about. This live is getting locked off at 11 o'clock, anyways, because I've got to mark some more. I've got to mark some more work, so I can't let this go past. I can't let this go past 11 o'clock. Some of you man in the some of you men are going crazy in the chat. There's me just winding people up. Old Shane Sullivan says feminist propaganda about women being equal is correct. Oh my God. Old Shane, I'm gonna have to boot you out of this one, you know. What on earth? Jonathan Carter would lick down Haley with a bouncer. Haley Matthews would hit a Jonathan Carter delivery to Kingston, Jamaica. She would face a Jonathan Carter delivery at the Kensington Oval and lick the ball to Kingston, Sabina Park, Jamaica. Come on, man. You ain't putting no respect on Haley Matthews' name. Anyways. Anyways, let me stop. I'm actually gonna. Do you know what? I'm gonna send a message to Haley. Do you know what? Somebody's probably gonna clip this, and it's probably gonna get to Haley anyways. I'm gonna send a message to Haley and say to her, "Do you think you could? How well do you think you would do in a men's senior match in general?" I do genuinely. Okay, as much as I'm winding a lot of you up with this, and enough of you sexist man have got triggered immediately. As much as I'm winding you up about this, let's do a genuine conversation about it. I think Haley Matthews has a better technique than some of our men's batters. Let's answer that question. That's a genuine question now. For everybody else who's like, now what are you talking about? Let's actually just look at that. I think she has a better technique than some of our men's senior batters. Do people disagree with that? Now you're going to say, but she's facing different kind of bowlers. I'm just talking about technique. Forget who she's facing. Technique. I think she's better than a lot of the players that we see domestically. Maybe you'll agree with that. That's not actually a wind-up. That's actually me being serious now. Anyways, let's move on to it. I got you lot fired up. I got you lot ready. I got you lot fired up and ready to talk. Let me put the link in the chat. Where is the link? Copy. Right. So those of you who want to come on the live, I think I've dropped it off topic. So what did I drop? I said Devon Thomas, John Campbell, Jaden Seals, Kemar Roach, Jason Holder, Haley Matthews. What else did I say is a talking point? What else did I mention? Haley Matthews. I'm coming to Trinidad in August. I don't know. Whatever else, really. Whatever else you lot want to talk about. So the time is Bobby Burns is going mad in the chat, you know. Man saying, can Haley Matthews hit Shabar Joseph? Brother, what do you mean can she hit Shabar Joseph? The Australians can't hit Shabar Joseph. What's that got to do with Haley Matthews? Anyways, it's 20 past 10. This show is being locked off. By 11 o'clock. No matter what you lot say, because I have got year 13 marking to do. And if you lot are wondering what that means 18-year-olds who have submitted some coursework, I need to mark it. So you lot can't just have me out here minutes after 11 when I've got stuff to do. Sachin's the first person to come on the show. Let's see what Sachin's got to say. Regular caller. Let's bring Sachin on. Yes, Sachin, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
First thing I want to offer, I know a good security guard for you when you're in Trinidad. The only problem is he's going to be on the field.
Do you know what? I mean, I think you're in the Discord, but for all the people in the Discord, I did say of all of the cricketers across the region, I think the ones who would least like to punch me in my head is probably the Trini ones. Because I was thinking about it the other day. I've rarely said anything that any cricketer from Trinidad and Tobago could misinterpret and say, you know what, this man's too feisty, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So I feel like outside of Jamaica, Trinidad might be the one place I might be safe, you know.
The only man you gotta look out for is Bob the Builder. He might come at you with a crowbar.
Now, Evans, do you know what? Evan Lewis, I got a lot of time for Evan Lewis. And actually, for those of you in the live today, Santoki and I are recording something tomorrow with regards to Evan Lewis. So look out for that. That's sure to get all the uncles furious as well. So look out for that one tomorrow.
But yeah, I don't really have anything set to talk about. But I was just gonna ask you, like, when you go to Trinidad, are you gonna do, like, hopefully force Evan to do like an interview, see where his head is at with West Indies cricket, and hopefully you see Pollard and talk about like that England's coaching?
Do you know what? So I mean, I was thinking today, I'm gonna properly, maybe in about a month, I'll sit down properly and try and think about what I should do when I'm out in Trinidad. But for sure, I'd love to believe that I've got a good enough relationship with some of the players, media-wise, obviously, to hope that I can sit down with a few and get them to talk about various different things. I mean, we've had Evan on the podcast before, back before we did visuals when it was just audio. We've had Evan on the podcast, and do you know what? Evan's a funny guy. He's a funny guy, and if he gives you the time of day, he's actually somebody worth talking to. But who
Yeah, I
knows
think I watched
where
the
Evan's
podcast.
head is at right now?
But yeah, that was the only thing as far as that. And someone said in the chat, I was when it just started, that would you say for the first test that we play in England, like sit out Roach so we could see like what that future bowling lineup looks like with Seals, Shamar, Alzari, and who else? I think they said, forgot who else they said.
I've been thinking about this a lot over the last few days. Jaden Seals has to play the first test.
That's what I was saying
He
too.
just has to. I don't see how Andre Coley and the selectors could look at Jaden and see his form in England and convince themselves that he shouldn't play the first test. So Jaden has to play. So then the question, then you're really looking at different individual factors. Will Shamar Joseph be fit and ready? If so, he has to play. For me, Kemar Roach has to play just because of sheer experience in the. You need a pack leader, and whether people like it or not, Kemar Roach is still the pack leader.
Oh yeah.
For the West Indies in terms of experience levels, and in the context of England, understanding English conditions, understanding the line and length you need to bowl in English conditions. And you know what? Not that I'm saying what is going to sound like I'm saying. You can't just bowl pace for the sake of pace. If you see where I'm coming
from. Yeah, you need line, length, control.
You need to have some kind of nous about it when you're bowling in England. So I don't see Kemar Roach being dropped. Not for the first. If we're talking about first test, I don't see Kemar Roach being dropped. He starts. I see Jaden Seals starting, and I see Jason Holder starting. I don't know where Holder will bat and how that all works, but I see him starting as well. So for me, if you're gonna drop a pacer, it's one of the Josephs. That's what it boils down to for me. What people seem to get upset when I suggest it, but I would not be surprised if that's what happens. And this is before we even talk about Multi, by the way, who may play depending on conditions. So listen, do you know what the good thing is, though, Sachin? At least we've got options.
Yeah, I think this is the first test series that we're going into where we have a selection headache for bowlers.
Yeah. So rather than us be critical about who should or who shouldn't, we should actually be celebrating that we even have the option to drop someone who justifiably could play, if that makes sense.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Lords has a slight slope, like uphill slope from one end.
Mm-hmm.
So Kemar's experience over there is going to come in handy with Seals and Shamar.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah.
my question now is, our top five, is that set with Brathwaite, Tage, Alec, Ugly Man, and who's who's at five?
Um, nah. Who's ugly man?
Forget I said Ugly Man.
Wait a minute. What? Hodge is at five. Hodge is at five.
Okay, so if that's our top five, Brathwaite, Tage, Alec, forgot his name.
I never called no one ugly man. You know. I want it on record. I want it on record. I never said ugly man. No.
But yeah, so Brathwaite, Tage, Alec, Kirk, Hodge. Does Holder bat at 6? And then Josh, or just Josh, then Holder?
You're missing out Kevin Sinclair.
That's what I was gonna get to that.
Yeah.
We play Sinclair instead of Moti as the spin option.
So, I think Multi doesn't play. I think they play Kevin Sinclair. Probably they have a decision to make around Josh, Jason, and Kevin Sinclair. That may end up being your 6, 7, 8. If they feel that Jason should play, I don't think you can back Jason at 6 and then Josh at 7, because then you've got a long tail. Because if you want to play all the Pacers, so what's that? Shamar, Alzari, Kemar, and Jaden, that's a long tail to start at 8, right? So whoever bats at 8, whether it be Jason or whether it be Kevin Sinclair, you're gonna remember West Indies top sit 5 is weak. So you're gonna want the batting insurance of somebody at number 8 who actually knows how to construct an innings. And at the moment, my belief is that it will be either Jason Holder or Kevin Sinclair, with possibly the one who isn't 8 being told to bat at 6 as well. I don't know though. I don't know. But again, it's a very interesting conundrum to have. In terms of the top 5, really and truly, if we're being honest, only Brathwaite can we say we can trust, how to construct an innings in England. We have no idea what Tage, if he even plays, maybe it'll be Machel Louis, who knows. We have no idea what Tage, Machel Louis, Kirk McKenzie, Alec Athanaze, Kavem Hodge, we have no idea what they are going to be capable of or not capable of in English conditions. And we could well find ourselves in a situation in England where we're often, 30 something for free.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting in that regard.
I feel like the 11 I would feel confident in is that top 5. Sinclair at 6, Josh at 7, Holder at 8, and then I'll go with 3 seamers, because I don't think we need to play all 4 of our outright seamers.
No, I don't think so.
So it'll be between those 4, and I think I'm gonna drop Zari.
If I had to right now, I'd say it's Zari, but who knows? Who knows? A lot could still happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the World Cup. We don't know who might pick up an injury.
That too.
But there'll be people. I think I've seen some comments in the. Here we go. Just as I was about to say it, Vivek says you cannot play Holder at 8 to construct an innings. If Holder is a better batter than McKenzie, let him play at 3 as a batter. Role definition is important. Here's the problem, Vivek. You're talking as if you're talking about a proper team who has batters all throughout their side, and therefore we can move Holder up, because Vivek, stop all that. You know as well as I know that we don't have the luxury of being able to say, why don't you go and bat 3, Jason Holder? No, the West Indies batting lineup is brittle. They are going to have someone at number 8 who knows how to bat. It could be Kevin Sinclair, but they're going to have someone at number 8 who knows how to bat, because there is no faith in the top 5 to necessarily construct What's the chances of us in England being 350 for 4? What's the chances of that?
0.
Right? So you can't. I get what Vivek's saying, but you can't apply those conditions to the West Indies team. We're not Australia. We're we're not we're not India, right? We're a team that's going to need someone to be able to bat a number 8. It's as simple as that.
So let's just say we do play those 3 seamers, Roach, Kemar, Seals. Who's your new ball bowler?
Seals and Roach. In certain circumstances, there may be a there may be a situation where you dart a Shamar Joseph to bowl with the new ball, but I don't think they have to be set on these are definitely the 2 new ball bowlers. Roach will definitely take the new ball.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's basically all I have. And the only thing would be is, would England prepare a pitch that suits bowlers, or will they go flat, fast, so that they could put 600 runs on the board in the first innings?
That's a very good question, and one I can't answer just yet, because I was wondering this on Sunday when I was at the Northamptonshire game. Somebody asked me that exact same question: how will England approach this? England got humbled in India, so I don't know if the India experience is going to make them tweak their approach over the last year and a half. If they are going to tweak their approach over the last year and a half, then it would suggest that they're not just going to rely on flat tracks and scoring 550 plus in a day and a bit, right? Because if you just prepare flat tracks to score massive runs really quickly, what is that really teaching you when you go into conditions where you can't necessarily do that, right? So
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see how they approach this summer, and if they believe that just scoring loads of runs and pounding who is it, us and Sri Lanka, like what has that achieved at the end of the day?
Yeah, that was the only thing I had concern about, because I was thinking maybe they do a pitch where Anderson can pick up a 5 wicket and end his Test career on a high, or he either goes out with 0 for 120 runs.
Mm. We'll see though. We'll see. It'll be very, very interesting for sure. Lords tends to be on the first day, like this. You tends to be the first test, obviously, and it tends to be a competitive wicket in so much as they don't tend to have a Lord's pitch where the opposition gets skittled out, if that makes sense. You tend to be able to have a good go of things in the first innings at Lords. So yeah, well, I would assume that the bowlers are going to have to bowl well at Lords to be able to, irrespective of whatever the plan is, bowlers would have to bowl well to restrict teams at Lords in the first innings, certainly.
Yeah. So I think that's it for me, Mash.
All
Have a
right.
good night. And
No worries,
someone
man.
just said that grief shouldn't get dropped in the comments.
Don't worry, I've seen some comments in the chat whilst you've been talking. I'm about to come for everybody's neck.
Okay, peace out, Mash. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
no worries. Take care. Right, there's one comment I wanted here. This one. So Sam Kernan says, Mash, you are very negative unless you've played the game at a decent level. Now, Sam, I'm not actually having a go at you, Sam. I'm going to use this comment to have a go at people who always say to me, Mash, you're very negative. I'm not negative. I'm not negative. I'm just realistic. There's a difference. You will never, ever get me coming on this show, my show, and just talking positive for the sake of talking positive. What's what? I'm not a cheerleader. You don't see me in no flipping. You don't see me in no pum pum dress, waving flipping bonbons, do you? Or pom poms, whatever they're called. So what? You expect me to just cheerlead? Come on, that's nonsense. Unless you're one of like the older heads who saw West Indies when they were good and beat everybody. I'm not from that generation. My generation of watching West Indies is pretty much from the year 2000, where we lost to everybody. And then you lot just always come at me and go, why aren't you more positive? Positive about what? What? I'm not some flipping dunce. Positive about what? I'll be positive when there's something to be positive about. But I'm going to be realistic. I'm going to be realistic, right? People like me who've been watching West Indies pretty much every match since about the year 2000, do you know how many L's we've seen? Do you know how many L's we have seen? We've seen L's so much that we don't even know what W's look like. And then people want to tell me to be positive. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Like I'm rallying around the West. I'm still here. I'm still here after all the L's. That's the positive. I'm still here. I'm still here supporting all the same, in spite of seeing L's after L. There's people in this chat. There's a generation of people in this chat, people like Fireball, who are still in their 20s, who have pretty much never seen a W. Do you know how cold that is? They've never seen a W, you know? Like, but people like Fireball in this chat have got their own parents who saw all the W's. They're just laughing at their children who are catching all the L's. Do you know how crazy that is? So, when I told my dad I was setting up this channel 4 years ago, he laughed at me, you know. He said, set up the channel for what? So, listen, we rally though. We rally because the point is, this channel's been going since the end of 2019, and we're still here rallying all the same. But on a serious note, like, I'm just realistic. Like, the reason why you rarely hear me say stuff like, "Oh, West Indies are going to win," is because I guess history tells me that it's not very often that happens. So I have to be like super sure and convinced before I say that, yeah, it's going to be a win and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean your point is wrong per se, Sam, in that, yes, sometimes it will come across like it's negative, but it's just realistic. It's just realistic. Do I think we can compete in England with the ball? Yeah, 100%. With the bat, it's gonna, like, we're gonna need like a couple people to step up who we may not expect to step up. Like, but I'll be there still. I'll be in the ground rallying. I'll be in the ground rallying all the same. Anyways, where are we? Let's bring on Jabu Jabu to come on. Jabu Jabu. Yes, Jabu Jabu, what are you saying?
Yes. Good evening, Mash and everyone.
Excellent. How you doing?
I am doing very well today. I just wanted to give a little shout out to the best Wulu in the silver Panda stuff. Anyway,
big up Panda Steph, yep.
Continuing on from what you was just talking about with the negativity, I wanted to touch on an experience like just even watching us beat Australia in that game. It was like 3 a.m, and I felt like I was dreaming because I did not expect that. And that's just the sort of way that we sort of grew up this current generation, like watching cricket, just kind of expecting the loss. And to get such a big win there felt surreal. And even commentators, I mean, you saw the reactions of Bish and Lara and Carl Hooper after that. They felt the same.
Yeah, they were crying. They were crying like they never thought they'd see a day like this again in their life, which tells you a lot. To be fair, I wasn't crying that day, but I was shocked into, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I do know that it made me feel proud to be from the region. I do know that much.
Yeah, I must say the same regarding that as well. Next topic that was kind of touched on earlier with the England series upcoming. I think England probably are going to continue putting out flat surfaces because of the retirement of Anderson. As Sachin said, they might prepare a pretty spicy wicket for that first game for his retirement, but I think his retirement itself is a sign because of how ineffective he was last year in England, and they probably do want to continue with that approach forward.
Yeah, it's gonna be, but then not that we necessarily care about England and their development, but what is the benefit? So you know how remember that England series when we won 1-0 a couple of years ago, and we had the kind of the flat tracks in, where was it? Was it in Antigua and
Barbados
Barbados?
and Grenada.
Yeah. And then Grenada is where we got the win to win the series. And a lot of people were critical of the tracks in Antigua and Barbados. And obviously, Craig batted about 2,000 balls for about 300 runs, right? And everyone was critical of that, saying this isn't interesting cricket. And at the time, I felt that West Indies were playing to their strengths, which was, as long as there's not much life in this wicket and we dig in, led by Craig, we can't lose the test match. So is that any different to England playing to their strengths at home and producing flat tracks and believing that they can smash everybody off the park and effectively win games? Is there anything wrong with that? Or would you say that a top test nation should be testing themselves at home as well? Where do you stand on that?
It's always about finding a balance, and we could probably point to that series as the Bertha grind ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was really the first time I ever saw play like that in the West Indies region. I think you always have to take advantage of the home conditions, and I mean every team around the world does that. So I don't think any team is wrong for doing that. It definitely does backfire when you go to foreign conditions and you don't know how to deal with it. So I think that's something that you need to work on a domestic level and on an international level when you're playing games at home. Like try, like use as much as advantage as you can, but like still try to challenge yourself in certain ways.
But then you see for West Indies, and that's what made the Australia win so significant. There's places around if you take I'm sure somebody who's in the live chat right now might be able to quickly go and find the records. But we haven't won in Sri Lanka ever, I think. Certainly we've not won a series. I don't think we've ever won a test, but somebody will be able to confirm that for me in a minute. You look at all of the countries around the world, and I think other than Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, a random test in South Africa, I think in 2007. We haven't won in New Zealand in about 20 something years. England, we always seem to get something. England's basically the exception to the rule. You look at everywhere else around the world, and we rarely win a test match. So how is that? I guess what I'm trying to say here then is that just because we don't have the players? Because I don't think it's about us doctoring pitches to our strength, which means that we can't win away. I just don't think we have the players to win regularly, whether home or away.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the players that we have available to us, and also just the teams that we would be playing against in those instances also taking as much advantage as they can off their home pitches.
So then
it is difficult for us to really work on that at home, but it's not impossible because we have seen with the variety of pitches in the Caribbean, we could get good PC wickets on some areas. We could make it as flat and dead as we want in some areas, and we can get spin in some regions as well. That's the next thing, like even looking back at the 4-day, why it's so important to play it in every possible location around the Caribbean that you can. But I know that's financially not viable.
Yeah, no, that much is true. I mean, this last season of the 4-day was probably the best version of it in a long old time. But and actually it was probably the first time in a long time where they managed to get to other places. But if it was up to you, how would if it was up to you, and finances notwithstanding, how would you structure the 4-day championship, knowing that home and away isn't really an option anymore?
Yeah, yeah, that would be the dream, and I did have a few discussions regarding this with a few people whilst the 4-day was going on. A lot of them really would have liked the home and away, play 2 rounds to come back. But I understand in the current calendar, it's not really possible to do that. So working around that, we would still just continue 1 round per team. I mean, CCC would still be an issue that needs to be sorted out because they just bully in that team, and anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. But I try to get it in each country so they have like a home base. CCC's home base would not be that UE ground. That they should not be playing at that ground for more reasons than just the pitch or the field or whatever. It's just not a great establishment.
So certainly the games at that ground were that, and probably Chedwin Park in Jamaica.
Oh yes, definitely
were subpar. They were little more than glorified club grounds, if I'm honest. That's how it felt to me watching on YouTube. What was your experience having seen them?
Pipe was bursting in Chedwin Park, but Ron still wasn't fluent.
Boy.
I did actually get to visit that ground, but it is like when you see it, you don't really believe that it is a cricket ground. It's a nice place to lime, but it is not a great place to host a first class standard tournament.
For sure. Which in some ways I get why they did it, of course, but it just, for like I say, for what was a more competitive tournament than usual, those games there just lowered the quality somewhat, is what I would say.
Yeah, I guess it's still a step in the right direction, given that they're still trying to get back to as expansive as they were after the pandemic, but hopefully they continue to move forward.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, Jabu, I know there's others in the call, and I'm looking at the time, trying to make sure I finish at a certain point. But listen, now you know when this is every Monday. I expect to see you every Monday anyway, so we'll continue to chat. And by the way, as I said to you in the live, you're going to be the person I come to. We need to do some discussions about what content looks like in Trinidad.
Yeah, Discord would be the greatest place to continue that conversation.
For real. See you in the Discord.
Yeah, and well, next week right here.
No worries, man. Later. No problem. Yes, that was Lord Jabu. The person in the background is the game. Who is the game? It's not the People's Champ, is it? I wonder if it's the People's Champ. I know he's about to. Is this his new name for this week? Is he about to do something? Is he about to do something crazy? Hey, I'm going to put another poll up before this live ends. Let me put another poll up. What should this poll be on? Let me do a poll here. Let me do a poll that you lot don't even know. Let me ask this question in this poll. What should I ask here? Okay, here we go. Talk amongst yourselves, people. They should have an option in StreamYard to just automatically do polls in the thing. Anyways, there's a poll for you lot to go and answer. What have I put here? Does Jason Holder make the 11 for the first test at Lords? Have fun with that one. And let me get on with this show. Right, the game is in the background. Let's bring the game on. Who is the game? I'm so worried about what the opening words are going to be from this one. Yes, hello, the game. Oh, no. God.
Friend to the game. Hey, Marsh, what's up, man?
Wait, you don't want to do the rest? Wait, you don't want to do the rest? There was me waiting for the rest of it, and you just locked off the music immediately. I'll finish it for you. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control, and if you can make it, I am the game and I want to play. Don't you forget there's a price you can pay, because I am the game and I want to play. Ready to roll over your soul. Anyways, let's get on with it. What are you saying?
Oh, boy. Good afternoon, Marsh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen in the chat. Welcome to Monday Night Podcast.
Monday night podcast, not even Monday nights, I'm just podcast. Welcome to Monday Night Podcast, everyone.
Hey, Marsh. I know we're talking about the test team, right? But I know you saw the team I sent you earlier today, but I'm thinking still, is it a 15-man squad or 18-man squad?
To England?
Yeah. Can you clarify that from Kishore for me, please? Well, for
It's
us?
definitely a 15-man squad. If that, at the very most, it might be 16 because they take, I don't know, somebody for experience or in reserve, whatever it might be. But I've been told it's a 15-man squad to England. There definitely will not be 18. I mean, the only way they would have taken more than 15 is if we had some, like county games or warm-up games in between the tests. But we only have the game against the first class counties 11 just before the first test, so it'll be a 15-man squad.
Okay. Now, as you said, they may take one developmental player.
I would.
Which young person? Okay. In your opinion, which young cricketer in the region now do you foresee reaching that part or that spot? Is it Isaiah Thorne, Joel Andrew, or somebody like Jordan Johnson?
It's a good question, It's a really good question.
For me,
that's who I would take. They are really excited about Isaiah Thorne. My understanding is that Isaiah Thorne is going to be selected for the A-team series against South Africa A in the summer. So I think he's already on the radar for that. So that tells you how highly they rate Isaiah Thorne at this particular stage of his career. However, if it was me and I could only take one developmental player just to experience the tour, I think Joel Andrew is the most exciting player we've got in the region under the age of...
He's 17, so...
Yes, okay. If I put my Jamaican bias hat on, I actually think Jordan Johnson is the best player under the age of 19. Because Jordan, when you watch Jordan play, he looks like he could do whatever he wants, but I'm not convinced if Jordan has or will develop the temperament needed to do whatever he wants. Joel Andrew looks a slight cut above in terms of knowing. He seems to have, I don't know, I think Joel at the moment seems to show an ability, a better shot selection or a better understanding of when to play the aggressive shot. So those two to me are the best two young batters in the region. But if I was taking somebody for developmental purposes, it'd probably be Joel Andrew at this point in time.
Okay. Now, knowing that we're probably going to select Isaiah Thorne for the A-team tour versus South Africa at home, this brings up the question about succession planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
How often or how soon, rather, would you ask Kemar Roach to step down and have the three, Azari, Jaden, and Shamar, and then probably look at Isaiah Thorne as well, and then you have Shamar Holder, who's in England right now in county cricket. How would you think about going out structuring that program for the succession plan?
That's a really, really good question. I'm just looking at our future tours program.
We have
Kemar is Kemar 30, I think Kemar is 36, right?
should be about that, yeah.
I'm just looking at our tests because Kemar plays tests only. Right. If I am Kemar, next June and July, I might put this as a poll in the chat. Next June and July, Australia tour the West Indies for the first time in ages to play test matches. If I'm Kemar, I retire after that.
Can you go again? I didn't hear the last part.
Say again?
Can you go again? I didn't hear the last part.
So
after what?
next summer, so a year and 3 months from now, Australia tour West Indies for 2 tests, right? By then, Kemar would be 37. I would be encouraging Kemar to retire after that test series. If he's still in and around the test side, players like to retire at home. I would be encouraging Kemar to retire after the Australia series. Now, there will be people in the live chat right now saying, no, he should retire earlier than that. But let me explain why he won't. Obviously, he'll be in the England tour. Obviously, he'll be part of that. After that, our next test engagement is Bangladesh at home in December. You would expect Kemar to be part of
South Africa before them.
Oh, sorry, South Africa. Sorry. Now, bear in mind. Now, actually, so Basil Butcher Jr. says he thinks this is Kemar's last series. Now, Basil, I'm about to come to that. So we have South Africa at home and we have Bangladesh at home. Kemar wants to get 300 test wickets. How many is he on at the moment? Someone who's in the chat right now. How many is Kemar on at the moment? He must be on like 272. Is it 272? Right. I think Kemar. Yeah. I'm going to wait for someone in the chat who's got the time to go and look to tell me. I think Kemar wants to get to 300. A player shouldn't be selected just so they can reach a personal milestone. But I think Kemar's looking to try to get to 300. I see him. Basil's got a point, you know. Basil's got a point. Kemar could get phased out this year. I would give him South Africa as well. If he does well in England, I think you give him South Africa at home as well. If he does well South Africa at home, you give him Bangladesh at home as well, which is the end of the year. By the end of the year, if Kemar hasn't already got to 300 wickets, he'll be very close to 300 test wickets. That's when you then have to think, does he go one more test series at home, which would be Australia in a year's time? Maybe that is one test series too many. When would you drop him? Or say drop him, sorry, that's the wrong word. When would you encourage him to understand we now need to plan for the future?
Okay, for me, I personally see us using Kemar Roach sparingly, like how England used what the guy name again? That's Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think he can come back around the team, so it doesn't make any difference. He can come back as a bowling coach or consultant and help us with our bowling attack and scout for other fast bowlers too. So it's a 50-50. He can go anyway. For me, I would probably retire him officially next year, as you say, Australia at home, have that match in Kensington, and give him a grand send-off.
That would be ideal. We've had enough examples in West Indian cricket history where players are treated shabbily when they're coming to the end of their career. From Shiv to whoever, we can come up with tons of examples where we didn't do the right thing in terms of respecting what players had done for the region and sending them off the right way. I would feel bad if we do not send Kemar off the right way in an era where so many of our players are quick to run off to go play T20 cricket, and Kemar has been there from day dot to now, still championing Test cricket as a format.
And after battling injuries as well.
Yeah, after quick in his young days and had to remodel his action, this, that, and the third. If we don't give him an appropriate send-off, that would leave a really bad taste in the mouth. So however this comes about, I just hope they do it the right way and don't just be like, well, you played bad in that series, we're never picking you again. If you see what I mean. I think he deserves more than that. Maybe some people disagree, but that's how I feel about it.
Okay, my last point of the night is Lords is usually a seam-friendly ground, right? And it doesn't really take spin much unless it's a great world-class spinner and on a day 4 or day 5 pitch. So how would you structure your 11 for the Lords game? Because for me, I have all 4 quicks bowling along with Holder with no spin, but I'm tempted to play Kevin Sinclair probably at 5, Jack Kirk, and have Hodge and Atnes batting at 3 and 4 respectively.
Did you say drop Kirk?
Yeah, but I know it's ridiculous because he's the top scorer and the Australia premium, but basically it's either between him and Tage, one of those who have to hold a job. I don't see we playing both of them in the same 11 in England.
Okay. My team as things currently stand is this, subject to change. Craig Brathwaite and whoever is selected to go to England. I suspect it'll be Tage and Machel Louis. So I don't know who opens, but it'll be Craig Brathwaite and one of them. Mackenzie at 3, Athanase at 4, Hodge at 5, Hodge at 5, De Silva at 6, Sinclair at 7, Holder at 8. Roach at 9, Kemar Joseph at 10, Jaden Seals at 11. As things currently stand, that's probably the team I would start with. 3 pacers. I know people are going to say Holder's a medium pacer. Kemar Roach doesn't have express pace. I hear all that, but Kemar Roach knows how to bowl in England, right? So you have Kemar Joseph as your express pace enforcer. Jaden Seals gets rewarded for what he's done in England. Kemar Roach keeps his spot because obviously he keeps his spot. Holder is in there because he's toured England multiple times, understands what you do what you need to do in England, and more importantly, offers an all-round option at 8, which is what they'll want. If people are questioning why I've got Josh De Silva above Kevin Sinclair, I don't yet like the idea of asking Kevin Sinclair to be a top 6 batter in Test cricket. I think Josh De Silva's Test match experience means he should bat ahead of Kevin Sinclair. You ask Josh to bat at 6 and you ask Kevin Sinclair to bat. I mean, some will say that's just nitpicking, but I would put Josh De Silva to bat above Kevin Sinclair. Batting in the top 5 for Guyana is not the same as batting in the top 6 for West Indies, whereas Josh De Silva is used to playing in Test match cricket, so you would ask him to bat ahead of Kevin Sinclair.
So, one question raising from your statement. We all hear and we all believe that Alzari Joseph is the leader of the attack. He's also the vice captain for all 3 formats now. So how is that going to be in terms of him not being in the 11? And does that put pressure on Jaden to step up as the leader of the attack? Or Kemar Joseph?
I think people who are long-time listeners of this live show, since we started it on Mondays, will know that at the end, the thing is, I'm an Alzari Joseph fan. I just think Alzari is a better white ball bowler than he is a red ball bowler. I know he's got a bit better in the last year in terms of his red ball returns. Somebody in the chat right now, how many test match fifers does Alzari Joseph have?
One.
I swear the answer is none.
One.
Is it one or
One.
none?
I think it's just one.
One, right? And who was that against? Bangladesh or Zimbabwe or something? Someone tell me now. Someone go search it up. Who, if Alzari Joseph has a test match fifer, who is it against? I think he's got none.
No, none.
Is it none?
None. I believe it's none. I think the
Right.
fiver came against South Africa in a white ball format.
Right. Now ask yourself this question. If he hasn't got a test match fifer, how can somebody who's not got a test match fifer be your leader of the pack? Now that's issue number one I've got. Secondly, Alzari's been playing test match cricket now for 8 years. He's supposed to have at least one. Okay, so Allenson says he's got one fifer versus South African test. He's supposed to have like more than one by now, right? So people just need to ask themselves, and I think I've said it before, but people just need to ask themselves, is Alzari a definite pick? And if he is a definite pick, why is he a definite pick? It can't be because he's vice captain. That can't be why you're a definite pick. So I'll ask you, I'll put the question to you, the game. Is Alzari a definite pick? And if he is, why is he a definite pick?
For me, after knowing Alzari personally as my former captain, I would say he should be a definite pick. However, workload management has caused him to be fatigued and not up to 100% match fit to where he should be at this point in his career. Also, he does create opportunities in the past, as we've seen many occasions, but the team has often let him down in the aspect of the feeling.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
Yeah. I believe he can still step up some more because this is not him at his best. And him at his best in any day can challenge somebody like a Jason Holder to up his game more.
I mean, what Joe Bob's just put a point here. So Joe Bob says we've been talking the overloading of Zari all year last year. Yeah, like I feel like this is a conversation that's been going on for a while. Listen, I'm not saying that Alzari Joseph isn't good, you know. I'm not that. I think sometimes people misunderstand my point. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying that is he good enough to be a certain pick? And there was a comment here, the game from Bobby Buns. Bobby Buns says, Mash, just say Holder paid you as his PR machine. When last Holder had a fifer in test? I think the last fifer he had was in 2021 against Sri Lanka. But Holder and Alzari aren't in the team for the same job. Like you can't compare Alzari Joseph to Jason Holder. They're not in the team to do the same thing. So I think that I think that's a bit of a straw man there because I don't see how those two things are even related. The question people have to ask, Alzari Joseph's position is in competition with Kemar Joseph and Jaden Seals. And I'm saying it's 2 from 3. Jason Holder isn't in competition with them because Jason Holder is probably, if he's selected knowing that he can bat as well. Whether people like that notion or not, Jason Holder's selection will be based on the fact that he offers you some all-round ability lower down the order, which a West Indies team with a weak batting lineup will need.
Okay, thank you very much, Mash. Any more questions for me before I go?
When you come back next time, so you've come as the people's champ and you've come as the game. Who you come in as next time?
Just wait and find out, my brother. Just wait and find out.
Okay. I'll see you.
One
I'll see you
question
next
before I
week on
go.
Monday Night Podcast.
I have one question before I go.
Yeah.
CCP, are you ready?
You know what? Let me knock you off this show, man. Later. Right. People. Here we go. Right, actually, so before I was about to lock this off, but so this is Basil. So Basil said Alzari took 6 wickets. Who's our last test against? What, Australia at the Gabba? You mean 6 across the test? Roach took 3. Holder and Sinclair cannot play in the same 11. Now, Basil, I actually think you've got a point there. Holder and Sinclair shouldn't play in the same 11. But Basil, come on. Whether they should or they shouldn't, what do you think West Indies will do? And I think they will both play. Because, again, Basil, it's potentially or possibly the wrong thing to do. But they will look at the fact that Kevin and Jason can both bat. They will look at their top 5 and think, boy, we better have somebody who can bat at 6, 7, and 8. How often does our lower order from 6 to 7 and 8 have to save the West Indies because the top order has been blown away? And I agree with you, Basil. In principle, it should be both Holder and Sinclair should technically be battling each other for a spot in the team. Just don't see it going that way. I don't see it going that way. I see them playing both. I see them playing both. I could be wrong. But I just see it. I just see it going that way, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. At the end of the day, it's a 3-match test series, so there's no reason why they can't rotate. And what they should be doing, but we rarely have this luxury as the West Indies, is we should be picking who are the best bowlers for the conditions in each particular test match. But I don't see them doing that. We historically don't seem to do that. We seem to just be like, well, who's the best players? And let's just find a way to put them in the team. But we'll see how it goes anyways. Listen, people, 215 of you in the live right now. Anyone know how many likes there are? Let me just see before I lock off this show. How many likes are we on? Does anyone know? How many likes? Someone tell me how many likes there are before I look off this one. It's quarter past 11 at night in the UK. I'm tired out here. Voice is gone. 55 likes? Nah, impossible. Wait, what? I've been doing an hour show for 55 likes. The disrespect is so real out here. You lot just got me out here doing shows for 55 likes. Anyways, people, I think that's it. I think we're done. I think we are done. What else? Is there anything else to talk about? Let me look at some last few comments, and then we'll wrap this show up. Let me see if there's any comments that I missed. I'm just scrolling back to see if there's anything. Just seeing if I've missed anything. If you think I missed your comment earlier on, people, and you really wanted it mentioned, you might have to write it again, because I'm scrolling up to see what I've missed. Let's just see. Ruston Chase's test squad. I think his time's gone. Ruston's time has gone in the West Indies test setup. Kevin Sinclair is now Ruston Chase, respectfully. So Ruston's time. And I think Ruston, to be fair, Ruston is in and around the white ball setup. He's starting to get some like down bad T20 league chances. So I think Ruston doesn't mind that his test chances are probably gone. Well, given the rise of Kevin Sinclair, I don't see how Ruston gets back in. Unless Ruston was to... I think he scored a century, did he not, when he played his one game in the first-class championship? So unless Ruston focused purely on batting to force his way back in as an out-and-out batter, and let's be honest, right? We should be... This is the one thing we haven't spoken about. The batting, the top 5... Brathwaite, so the top 5 minus Brathwaite, remember, is Tage or Machel Louis, probably. Kurt McKenzie, Alec Athanaze, Kavem Hodge. Respectfully, when I say those names to you, do you look at those names and think, yeah, they're definitely going to cement their spot over the next 18 months to make themselves undroppable? Sounds harsh, but I think if one of them was able to do that, we're doing all right. So if you're like a top order or middle order batter in the region, you should be looking at our current top 5 and saying, boy, if I just put up a glut of runs in red ball cricket, I can probably get into the West Indies team, because the chances of all 5 of them being able to consistently, 4 of them being able to consistently score runs that makes themselves undroppable, it's probably slim to none, right? So there's definitely going to be spots open. So if anybody like Ross and Chase is wanting or harboring any kind of ideas about returning to Test cricket, well, you know what you have to do: just score runs in the top and middle order, and you've probably got a chance of getting back into it. Someone said, is Evan Lewis in the training camp? Yo says, is Evan in Antigua at the training camp? I was told he's supposed to be in that training camp. I will try and find out after this call to see if he's actually turned up there. But I was led to believe that Evan had been certainly invited to that training camp. So Santoki tweeted some pictures earlier on. Let me see if Evan's in any of those pictures. Let me just see the pictures West Indies tweeted earlier on. So that's Hayden Walsh, Casey Carty. Who's that? Is that Johnson Charles? Roston Chase, Johnson Charles, Gudakesh Multi. So West Indies tweeted out some pictures earlier on. Those are some of the players who are in those pictures. I'd imagine they wouldn't tweet a picture of Evan Lewis, because immediately you'd get people going, well, what's Evan Lewis doing there? And etc. etc. So yeah. Anyways, listen, people, time. It's 20 past 11. I said I'd finish this at 11 o'clock. I want to try and get one last thing done before I go to bed. So I'm going to lock this off. Tired out here. You lot got me yawning and tired out here. Listen, I'm going to lock this one off. Like I say, tomorrow, Santoki and I are recording something about Evan Lewis. So that's coming tomorrow. Are we recording something else? Trying to get a guest on the show. Gonna have to try work hard to make that happen. So look out for some content. Look out for some content coming later on this week. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's me. Done. Oh, sugar. Next week is the South Africa warm-up games. Didn't even know that. Right. And also, if you're in St. Vincent, last thing, if you're in St. Vincent, the first game between the Windward Island Volcanoes and Nepal is tomorrow. So there's 3 games in St. Vincent. I think it's the 14th, 16th, and 18th. Nepal are in St. Vincent playing a strong Windward Island side. It's basically everybody who could play for the Windwards minus Alec, Johnson, Charles, and Obed McCoy, and then it's everybody else. I don't remember seeing Ryan John's name, but it's everybody else who makes up the Windward Islands franchise. So keep your eye out for that in terms of how they get on against Nepal. I'll try and tweet and update that as and when I get some updates. But anyways, people, let me go. People, thank you very much as ever. Thank you for tuning into the live show. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Same time next week, 10 o'clock UK time, 5 o'clock East Caribbean, 4 o'clock Jamaica. See you lot next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe on your way out, and see you soon.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seem coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.